This is for Math 8. We're going to record our video notes, the Math 8 volume notes. This is going to be video 1 of 2. So I'm going to record this in 2 different videos because I'm afraid it's going to get way too long. So this is our first one, and we are going to be going over volume. And volume is the amount inside. So when you talk about volume, I'm just going to grab, I know I have strawberries in here, but we're looking for the inside, the volume inside an item. Okay, so right here I really do have a cylinder filled with strawberries. That's the only thing I had on my list here. So we're going to be looking at volume of how things are full. So here's another item that you've seen on my desk. We have a pencil, some type of container that I'm using for pencils and scissors. But we're looking for the volume of a shape like that. Well, when you have a shape like that, they all have a circular base. Okay, so they have a circular base, a circular top. And so I wanted to quickly remind you about your circle. You've done this in 7th grade, 6th grade, but I want to just remind you real quick. When you have the circle here, this outside of it is called the circumference. And then we need to remember about the radius and the diameter. So here are some definitions. The radius goes from the center of the circle to the edge of the circumference. It's a straight line. So here's what I want you to write down. The distance from the center of a circle to the circumference, which is the edge. So you are saying the distance from the center of a circle to the circumference, the edge. Pause this, write that down. This is the radius. Now, you guys, there's all of these, like there's infinite number of radii that I can, as long as it goes to the center to the edge, there's many of them. Now the diameter, we got to remember about the diameter. The diameter goes all the way across a line passing through the center, connecting 2 points on the circumference. So what it's doing, it's connecting this point, and it goes through the center. We have other lines that connect from edge to edge of the circumference, but not go through the center, and that's called something different. But your diameter goes all the way across. Your radius only goes halfway across. So something to remember is that your radius is half the diameter, and the diameter is twice the radius. Okay? So for example, if my radius is 4 centimeters, if I'm going 4 centimeters here, my diameter then is 8 centimeters. If my diameter, if I go all the way across and that's 10 centimeters, well, the radius is going to be, the diameter is twice the radius. Maybe I should have had that switched, but the radius is going to be half of the diameter. So I should have had to switch. So this is this way, and this is this way. The diameter is going to be 5 centimeters. So if you want the radius, if you have the radius, you want to do diameter, double it. If you have the diameter and you want the radius, divide that by 2. Okay. Now another thing that we have to remember, and I just realized this, is the area of a circle. So the area of a circle is found by doing area equals pi r squared. That is a formula that hopefully you had experience with last year, to where they're taking the radius squared and multiplying it by pi. A lot of times they'll use pi as 3.14, and I'm going to show you in our notes today to where we can change it to 3.14, or you might even see your answer left as pi. So I'm going to show you both. All right, so volume of a cylinder. The volume of a cylinder, so like my examples here, my container here is a cylinder, small cylinder. Our pencil holder is a cylinder. The water bottle, I'm not going to turn, oh God, I just spilled it. So our water bottle that I carry is a cylinder, even though it has kind of, it brings it up a little bit. Looking all over, there's tons of cylinders all over. But notice, I want to know the volume of it. I want to know how much it can hold. So notice it's a circular base, and then it's the height. So it's just a circle just stretched out. That's all a cylinder is. Now pay attention here. The formula volume equals base times height. Well, that's your base, that's your height. But notice what's different. Notice there's a capital B. When that is a capital B, that means whatever the area, however you're finding the area of that shape for that base, and the base is a circle. So this is your final formula that you're going to be able to use. All right? So pi r squared times your height. So here's our problem here. The cylinder has a radius of 4 centimeters and a height of 40 centimeters. Find the volume. The first thing I always want you to do is rewrite the formula. Now I'm going to rewrite this one versus just the base times the height so you get used to seeing the pi r squared. Rewrite your formula. Second step, plug in the information. And it doesn't tell us to use the 3.14, but we're going to go ahead and use pi equals 3.14. And I'm going to show you 2 ways that you might see, if not this year, then definitely by your sophomore year when you're taking geometry. So pi is going to be 3.14. The radius is 4, and the height is 40. Now we're doing 4 squared, okay, so I'm going to do 4 and then squared. I want to see your substitution. The first step is your equation, the second step your substitution, and then you can start breaking this down, not breaking, but start evaluating. Now I'm going to do 4 squared, which is 16. Be careful, this is where many of you will do 8. I'm okay at this point for you to use a calculator. So you may use a calculator, not your cell phones, not your computers. Grab your calculator. But then once you have this, now you can use the calculator to compute. Don't go straight from here to your answer or from here to your answer. I'm going to see 4 squared as 16 so we can see what you're typing in. Now you're going to just multiply the numbers straight across. 3.14 times 16 times 40. And so it came out to 2,009 6/10. Leave it like that, okay? Don't drop off that 6 and don't round that up. I want it exact as possible. And then it's centimeters. Now, since we're doing volume, it's a 3-dimensional shape, so we need centimeters cubed. Make sure you do label that. Here's another way to leave it in pi format, just in case you ever see this. Meaning they did not change pi to 3.14. Sorry, I'm trying to move this. They leave the pi, and then they do the radius squared times the height, which then a lot of times they'll move the pi to the end. They'll put all these numbers in the front. So you're saying 16 times 40 pi, and then you're doing 16 times 40, 640 pi centimeters cubed. This answer is definitely more exact. So if you ever see a problem that has a pi sign, they just didn't change that to 3.14 to compute it. Math 8, you probably do the majority of it 3.14. Okay, so this would be the most exact answer that you're going to see a lot more in geometry when you get to sophomore year in high school. But right now, well, most of the time you're going to see it 3.14. Okay, next, a cone. Now, if you took a cylinder and you put cones into it, a cone is a circular, has a circle to it, and then it comes down to a point. Well, it actually takes 3 cones to fill 1 cylinder. So here's our formula. Notice it looks so similar except for the 1/3. So our formula for a cone to find the volume of a cone is going to be 1/3, and then everything else is going to be the same. So we're going to have this. A cone has a diameter of 8 centimeters and a height of 40. Find the volume. So first of all, we got to recognize what the shape is of the cone. The diameter of 8. So you got to be careful. And the height of 40. So we're going to write our formula again. If you're still with me and listening at this point, can you please put a little star by the word cone up in the volume of a cone? Would you put a star up there so I know you're still with me? Okay, so 1/3 pi r squared h. Now be careful. The diameter is 8 centimeters. So what's the radius? Remember, radius is half the diameter, so the radius is also 4. Okay, so we have 1/3. Change pi to 3.14. The radius is 4 squared. The height is 40. Okay. What we can do here is before you apply that 1/3, I'm going to go ahead and simplify the 4 squared, which is 16, and that's 40. I'm going to multiply all of these. I'm not going to try to cross cancel here because 3 won't go into this evenly, 3 won't go into 16, and 3 won't go into 40. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply all of these numbers and then have 3 in the denominator. So this is where you can use your calculator. If you notice they're the same numbers as the other side. Did that on purpose. 3.14 times 16 times 40. 2,009 and 6/10. And then I'm going to divide, because the 3 is in the denominator, now I'm going to divide by 3. So I'm going to keep that in my calculator. Divide by 3 equals, now notice, this will go on. So we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. Most of the time you will round to the nearest hundredth. That's first 6 in the hundredths place. So this is going to be 6, 6, 9, 8, 7. Okay, and it's going to be centimeters cubed. All your volume is going to be cubed. So this was centimeters. So just if you know the formula, it's plugging in the information. Here's the discipline. Look at these lines, how many lines it took. I should see this many. The more you write down the equation, the better you get at memorizing it. Not that you have to memorize it, but it kind of sticks in your head more. Okay, so the last one we're going to do for this video is the volume of a sphere. And a sphere is like a basketball, tennis ball, any type of ball, I guess. Not football. Football is ellipse, but the volume of a sphere. So here, notice it looks very similar, except for you're going to have 4/3 pi r cubed. So you got to be careful here. All right? So the r is talking about the radius. So here, estimate the volume of air in a beach ball that has a 12-inch diameter. So you got to be careful. Again, we have 4/3 pi r cubed. Our diameter was 12 inches, so our radius is half that, which is 6 inches. If you're still with me, would you put a big smiley face by the word sphere in the title, volume of a sphere? Put a smiley face. So we have 4/3 times pi, 3.14, times the radius cubed. That's 6 cubed. Okay, so that's saying 6 cubed. Now to do this, I'm going to keep my 4/3. I'm going to keep my 3.14. I'm going to do 6 cubed. Not 6 times 3. Be careful. You're saying 6 times 6 times 6. Whoops, which I did wrong. Oh, I didn't need that last one. That's wrong. All right, 6 times 6 equals, maybe that, times 6 equals, I don't know. But it's going to be 216. Okay, so 216. Now, best way to do this is probably go ahead and multiply all the top and then divide by 3. So I'm multiplying 4 times 3.14 times 216. My 216 is already in my calculator. So I'm going to times 4 times 3.14 equals 271296. Divide that by 3. Divide 3 equals, volume is 904 32 hundredths. So don't round to the nearest whole number. You guys are getting to a point in your math that you can go to the nearest hundredths. Don't round to the nearest whole number unless it tells you to, but round to the nearest hundredths. Okay, so that volume of that sphere is going to hold 904 cubic centimeters of air in that beach ball. Okay, so all it is, it's the plug and chug. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That's the video 1, and I'm going to stop and do video 2.